Peace of the Saints. We just finished Saints Weekend, which was an attempt to bring together New Year's and Christmas in a meaningful way, reducing some levels of paganism, reducing levels of materialism, and making it a warm experience that families can have, families led by a patriarch, and utilize it to springboard for the next year, but also, of course, to have good food and holiday spirit and enjoyment. And so we just finished it up this last week, and it was a really fun time. We want to do a recap so that we can perfect this and that everyone in their different sections around the world can execute on this model. So we'll talk through some of what we did, what worked, what we'd like to improve on, and we'll go from there. For those of you who weren't able to attend this time around, we'll show you a little bit of imagery so you can get a sense of what went on. But before we get going, I want to yield the floor. We got Jim and Jose on the line. If you guys want to share any thoughts on Saints Weekend, your initial feedback on how you enjoyed yourself.
Reflecting on the weekend, it was a great experience. I learned a lot. I love the fact that, we shifted from materialism to a new tradition, and the tradition is goal setting and reflecting on the future goals, as well as sharing it with your family and friends so that they could constructively critique it and give you constructive feedback, which the feedback was excellent. And not only did I learn from my feedback, but I learned from the feedback of other saints. And one thing I did appreciate was, some of the saints didn't set they didn't set their goals high enough. And that could be because they're already seeing success. So one of the things to improve that or change that would be to, change your surroundings so that you could garner inspiration. So that's something I want to focus on, and that's something I did take away from the weekend. I left inspired, seeing all the saints together, hearing what they're doing, their product releases, because that's something that I'm totally ignorant on is product-based business. So that's something I want to learn, and seeing all the saints that have already released products and being able to talk with them, learn from them, and be able to share feedback on what on their goals and what I'm good at, and just being able to help each other as a community. As well as the workouts and the competitiveness. It was a great experience, and of course seeing the Lady Saints, how well they worked in the kitchen and how well they took care of us. That was a great experience as well.
The unique thing, as I mentioned, was it was a new experience for me because mostly we have conferences which are highly structured, education focused, and obviously they have social components. But this was largely for the purpose of bringing community together. And one thing I really enjoyed that'll be unique when people come to headquarters, because there'll be more people here, is that because it was such a high number of people who were sharing their upcoming goals and were able to give feedback. You're right. You did get to learn about other industries, figure out who the experts are among us, experts in content, experts in real estate, experts in software, experts in fill in the blank, cybersecurity. So that was pretty cool, especially for some of the guys that we didn't know as well. And, I enjoyed it a lot. Even the small things, like before Saints Weekend started, I was putting together a bed on the property so that we could accommodate more people. And one of the Saints showed up who's an electrician. I didn't even know he was an electrician. And two of us were trying to put together a bed, and he walks up, he was like, "Do you guys know what you're doing?" And we looked at him like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, I'll be back." Came back with a drill, and he's like, had that thing together in like minutes. And it just shows the value of expertise and how you struggle through life and you move slower toward your goals when you don't have access to expertise. So it was a great weekend. Now, you mentioned the Lady Saints. For all of you watching, we actually never have events where, women are a significant part of it. You may know, as tradition, we have opera singing at some of our conferences. So we have women will come in and do opera. They might operate in a service capacity, generally hired, maybe my assistant, or some women that are hired catering, which we did have hired catering this time. But in addition, we supplemented that with the Lady Saints who were here and were chefing up real meals out here. And it was a beautiful thing to see. And I think it was pretty cool because a lot of guys on the internet, they jokingly say like, "Yeah, go in the kitchen, make me a sandwich," which is like loser status. Like, I can make a sandwich myself, which I wouldn't, but I could if I wanted to. I want you to make me something I can't make. And so it was pretty cool to see the reality of the things that we discuss and just validate that it's all real. There are women that are feminine. There are women that are happy to get in there and cook up a meal. There are women that follow program. And one thing for the folks who weren't there, all the women that were here among us belong to one of the saints, except a couple women who attended who are lady saints and single. And the women who were not single, they don't shake hands. They're not keeping up unnecessary conversations. They're keeping to themselves among women. So it's just a beautiful, very respectful experience. Now, would you include the women again, or would you go men only? Like, what modifications did you make on that?
No, I would definitely include the women again. And I think it was a beautiful sight seeing them all work together. And like you said, they weren't, none of them were seeking attention. They were just to themselves, enjoying, being in their femininity, enjoying serving. And there was respect on both ends. And it was a beautiful thing. And I would encourage more of it, really. And I think I mentioned this to you previously, but the content I value from you the most is family content, and how to structure and build a family. Because I think that's really what the power is in this community. Being able to, as well as community, but being able to build family.
That's a good point. One thing I liked about the age range and the experience range is that, two of the brothers who were in attendance have, two ladies in their family. We have brothers ranging from age 20 to, late 50s. And so it just gave us a huge range of experience to pull from. And also it gave our young guys an opportunity to see the gentlemen who are more experienced and more advanced and see how they're moving. One of the things that was really legendary, and shout out to Philip and shout out to his ladies as well, during the tradition where we basically write down our vision for the upcoming year. We write down what we're willing to sacrifice to achieve that vision. That is to say, to make it real. And we had the women participate in this because as a patriarch, you lead your family and everyone needs to know how they factor into the greater goal of the family. And so, all the men wrote down their goals. And then what we do is we put them in a bag and then we pass around the bag and have people pick out someone else's vision. They read the other person's vision. They share what their immediate thoughts are, and then they give feedback, critique, or, encouragement, help with strategy on that vision. One of the most legendary visions that came out of the bag, we pull one out and Shorty's, it reads, "My vision for 2025. My vision is Philip. What am I going to do to achieve this vision? Help Philip with any and everything he needs." Respect. Boom. So that was a beautiful thing because good culture reinforces itself when the other women can see that's how it's supposed to be. And then the other men who haven't gotten to that level, or they don't have a woman that's very feminine and fully signed up for your program, the guys realize that's how it's supposed to be. I got to step my game up. I'm dealing with these goofy mud ducks out here. So yeah, man, that was legendary to me. I really enjoyed that moment. I think it was helpful for all of us. And shout out to Philip for really living like a real boss out here. Jim, how about you? What were your thoughts, takeaways on Saints Weekend?
Oh man, there's so much to talk about. I will say that on that piece about Philip, that I had a 10-hour drive home coming down to Florida, and one of the topics of discussion was that little note that Philip's that we'd read about Philip's girl, and I was like, wow, that is insane. We were all like, yeah, we got to get like Philip, because that is crazy. That is crazy. Really, one of the biggest things that I took out of this experience was the inspiration, for sure. By being around people who are all like trying to better themselves in their respective areas, and yet we all have even though we're all different, we all have our own, culture, similar views and values. And so, yeah, it definitely inspired me to keep up, for sure, build up that competitiveness. And so it was a great experience. I recommend it. Definitely bring the Lady Saints again. That's another point I wanted to get on, is that this gave me a real example of what it looks like to see feminine women in action. and it was definitely like a first time experience for me. So I highly appreciate having the opportunity to witness that firsthand. So now I have like a clear illustration of what that looks like.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that covers it, man. I yield the floor.
The fascinating piece that kind of escaped me is because when I create a conference or boot camp or whatever the experience is, I'm always creating an experience for men. And similarly with Saints Weekend, even though its real purpose is family, I was still focused on, what are the guys doing? And I knew, of course, the women would be preparing nutritious meals, serving those meals, clearing the tables, making sure that the facility, the home is clean on a consistent basis. But I actually kind of like forgot about what they would be up to during their downtime. So I didn't do any programming for them. So, there are times we saw the ladies were playing Uno and doing all these other things that they were enjoying and obviously delighting in, which was good to see. But it was brought to my attention by the ladies that we do need to make sure that we maybe have some more things for them to engage with during their off time a little bit more on the program side. So I'll keep an eye on that one. One of the things that was like really neat for me, because I always believe that we should ease into things. And so we had the ladies there, not a ton. And it was just so smooth sailing. There was not one single complaint. Every single woman was contributing. They were all in the kitchen, collaborative, serving. And I think that's important because some folks grow up with mothers that they don't treat you like they should be treating you as a son. They don't treat your father like he should be treated as a husband. And to know that this exists and it's the natural, happy way, I think that's a priceless example, as you pointed out. So that was something great to see on display, and also to see how different men interact with their women, but how people within a culture interact on a consistent basis. That's something that shows like there is a right way to do things. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And we'll look at a couple things. Ramsey, how are you, my good man?
Peace to the saints. I am doing wonderful. I wanted to share a couple of things. I was listening to everybody share their sides. Similar sentiments. I want to start with the constructive side. Actually, not. I want to start with the more positive side of things.
Okay.
Number one, it was a very good event. We didn't have the opportunity of hosting it at a home, given most of the saints smaller properties, smaller condos, so it would have been a little too packed. However, we do have a local restaurant that I'm very close with the owners, and it's essentially an event space. I've shared photos of this a few times. It's essentially a second home, and it's sort of we kind of ring it as our headquarter. However, I brought my wife. A couple of other saints brought their siblings, but one of the saints brought his father.
Oh wow! Okay.
And believe it or not, the father is the one that connected his son with your content. Introducing, he bought his book. He bought your book, provided it to the saint, and looped him in with that regard. I'll tell you, in the beginning, there was a couple, bringing strangers together. Everyone's not everybody is cold, but everybody kind of walks in, and I strategically had people in position. So I was thinking maybe I'll go with name tags, but it wasn't so many folks that I couldn't handle myself. So I strategically placed people in good places because I knew that that's how it should be. Have to have a number of events. The ladies themselves, right out of the gate, they just started talking. They started mingling together. They started sharing things. And like you said, I remember an hour later, I was just, we're focused on a couple of the guys, what we're speaking about. But then you look back and all the ladies are laughing, helping each other and whatnot. Great spirits, great positive elements. And then with our side, again, it was a mix and mingle. So reinforcing and re-encouraging individuals, don't sit at your seat too long. Don't make it a fixed post, right? Because if you do that, people are going to only engage with those that are in their close proximity. We don't want that. Some folks still kind of sat there, but it was kind of tough because everybody's still having a good time and you don't want to interfere too much, right?
Right.
So, it's like, guys, I know you're chopping it up and laughing, but you need to go and talk here. No, it's just, kind of let it naturally flow. But you touched on something that I'm going to be doing a lot more of next time is, in a sense, team engagement. Like you said, you had individuals write down things and then another person speak about it. That's fantastic. I didn't do that to that extent. We did share our thoughts and whatnot, but I think that natural inclination to have people engage is something I'm definitely going to promote more of next time.
I was extremely embarrassed at how over budget we were, because number one, as a businessman, you expect that you know how to budget. And then number two, having put on a ton of conferences, I thought it would be similar, but it's actually nothing like that. And then number three, admittedly, my old lady got involved. And as soon as they get involved and there's holiday and decorations and food preparation, bro, like we went like a clean 10,000 over budget. And I don't even know how far we're over budget because that was from my money, but she was spending her own money. Like when I would tell her to stop, she would just keep going, but spend her own money. So I didn't know. So I say that to say, we want to figure out how we can host it in a way that's fun, elegant, beautiful surroundings, but also fiscally responsible for all of us as business people, because every man within Assassin must look at himself as a businessman. And we're not really there for the decorations, the balloons, the apple cider, and all that other crap. We're there for the people. So that's an important part. So I think, Ramsey, if you can share some notes with us, maybe on a Google Doc drive, and we'll all just hop in there and build from it in terms of, from your experience, what you think the fundamentals are to have a part of it. And then we'll all build on that. And we'll also, in addition to stating what needs to be involved, we also need to state what will not be involved. Just like when you do a Secret Santa, you limit like, hey, you guys can't spend any more than $50. We want to make sure that we're capping it out so that no one's like, no, I want to make this special. And then like, yeah, it's especially expensive. So I appreciate you making that note for us. One thing I will say is that we got to have the apple cider or some fancy ciders. It's expensive, but I think it's well worth it.
I would say the principles that we had an intent for, were definitely there on the videos, but I think like an overall principle for like how the assassin views situations like this. So I think one thing I really noticed too is some people had a goal of, I want more subscribers. My goal is this many subscribers. And we have, Jabri saying like, more subscribers doesn't equal more money, and you as well. And
Right.
So that is worth way more than a Christmas sweater, like that is going the wrong direction for 2 years. Yeah. So I would say that like perspective and like community is more important than any gift that you can give, and having that be like the core essence of it all. And hopefully, the woman who's, assisting with this can understand, like, I don't need to get more stuff. I don't need to get all these other things that, are good for the pictures, but, other than that, it might not be. But hey, I enjoyed the candle. I'm burning it right now. So shout out to you for the candle.
Oh, you're talking about the little, oh yeah. So my old lady put a freaking like gift box in everybody's bedroom.
Yeah.
Obviously her idea here, because your boy ain't on that level. But yeah, and I think we had more balloons than I thought the house was going to start floating. We had so many balloons in there. It was insane. But yeah, it's nice to have a woman's touch to things. But yeah, you're right. We have to, when we get them involved, we know off rip, we have to know that it's another element to manage, the consumptive nature. I also acknowledge Stop Playing Trade Rights. When I first met up with the DMV Saints, I felt like I already knew them despite it being the very first time meeting. I got the same vibe meeting up with all the Saints this past weekend. It just feels like family. Peace of Saints. This is, everyone always says this at our events, every single time. Shout out to Thul, always supporting the work. We appreciate you. Know exactly what it looks
Nothing like you, all my bitches buy me stuff. I need them.
But shout out to the Florida section, number one. As you guys know, Florida, they're ultra deep and they have great leadership. And shout out to all the sections. The Florida boys always pull up. And also, you guys might not know, but we had a billiards tournament at the Saints weekend, and Florida represented well. In fact, our champion was recently on the call, Jose. So he caught a body. He took out the Texas section. So that was a fun time.
Yeah, I recall after food or after some events, you asked everyone, hey, like, should we do the billiards tournament or something else? And I was like one of the only persons who said tournament, because I just knew as soon as we get all the Saints together, there's going to be a lot of heckling. And it's just really, I think there's a lot to being under pressure in that environment where everyone's here like showing love at the same time. Like, it's a very unique experience for whoever is doing it, because I don't think very frequently people get that experience of being under the limelight, so to speak. And, it does cause some friendly fades, so to speak, to be executed. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. I think it's overall good, but only the final game should be kind of for everyone to watch.
Okay, fair enough. And yeah, the cipher was crazy. That's not even a consideration. That's assassin tradition. That's at all of our events. I don't think we've ever done anything, Mitchell, and not had the cipher. Would you agree on that one?
No, I definitely agree. But I would say for the women's billiard tournaments, I think a tournament is specifically a masculine thing. So I would yield to them as far as if they want to do that or not. Because I think they were just having fun as it was. I'm not sure if we necessarily need a tournament for that specific endeavor.
That's a good point. Just give them time and space to be on the table. Very good. Okay. Billiards tournament. I'll just make a note.
And I think that's actually a really good point. Give them time and space because they're not necessarily going to ask for it. And they would definitely need some assistance because, just generally speaking, they're pretty busy too at the same time with cooking all that stuff. So
yeah,
I would say whoever is leading the event would have to consider those things. But yeah, that's a good note.
Shorty talk about I'm able to hit a few trick shots. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Okay, cool. Fantastic. Any other comments on any of those pieces? All right. Cole, what it do, baby?
What's up? Peace to the Saints.
Peace to the Saints. All right, let's see what we got in terms of just some quick visuals. Again, we got bars. Check out The Saint in the Center on Spotify. I'm about to mess around and lay another album though. Oh, and just can we keep it real here? Like shout out to the Gentleman Mastermind. The bars were insane. Listen, there was one guy, I don't know if he wants to have his name named or not. There was one guy, he was from the Atlanta section. You heard me. Bro was going off. Bro was going off. We will be releasing footage. He was going off in that cipher.
Hey, hold on. So is it specifically freestyles or does one get breaks to check the phone? Because that is one thing where I'm just like, I'm not sure. That's an advantage that I didn't want because it's a freestyle. But some people, they were checking their phone. I'm not going to say anything, but I saw a decent amount of people looking at their phones. I didn't look at my phone once.
Yo, Mitchell is a purist. Mitchell is a hip hop head purist.
Yeah.
And I can respect that. I respect that. Mitchell, I'm going to tell you this. One thing I realized with this cipher is that people know it's going to happen. They're coming prepared. You better come prepared too. That's what I'm on from now on. That's what I'm on.
Okay, well then next time it's going to be different then.
It is going to be different. It's going to get uglier and uglier every time because I saw a lot of people were kicking like full 16s. They were kicking like full songs that they had clearly wrote. So no, I agree. I observe what you observe. I observed some phones out. I observed some pre-written bars, but it get like that.
All right, man. I'm gonna do it then. I'm gonna bring my phone.
Mitchell want me to read the bylaws for the cipher before we start next time.
Hey,
Hear ye.
Some people had an unfair advantage, and I was just having a moral dilemma, And as a white male, I have to represent my community well.
You do.
And I didn't feel like I was able to do that because there is an unfair advantage.
Right.
And, it wasn't a technical, but I'm just clarifying the rules here, I yield the floor.
Fair enough. So we're officially going to say that as long as the bars are fire, there are no rules. Officially, it has been promulgated. If the bars are fire, there are no rules. And I will say there's one individual, he had at least 10 of them just memorized, like 10 sets of 16s. I was very impressed. Anyways, here we go. Oh, yeah, again, shout out to the Florida section. Shout out to Jose, Victor in the billiards tournament.
A bigger ladder.
Oh, yeah, we had the 12-foot Christmas tree, which quite trying. Oh yeah, one thing I'd asked my old lady about with regards to Christmas trees, which it's just a holiday thing. We're not into the pagan aspects of this. It's just like a beautifying thing that is in line with the Western culture, and we're in a Western society. But I don't know if people decorate the tree together, and I was asking myself, would we have the Lady Saints come early if that's something that they would enjoy? Because surely, I'm not going to lie to you. Well, one, it was partly dangerous because like my ladder wasn't tall enough. But number two, it just wasn't fun at all. I was just kind of like, yo, what the hell is going on here? Like, am I really decorating a Christmas tree right now? What do you guys think? Is that something that we should have just like already done? Or do we have the Lady Saints come in earlier and we just buy all the ornaments? And if they want to bring ornaments, cool, and have them hook it up?
I would say
ladies.
First off, it's usually a family thing, like direct family, like your children would be participating in that specifically, and that's how it's been traditionally. And it's generally not the act of doing it is fun, but the act of having and your children do it and it's like working with them to participate in that has been what I've mostly seen within my family. I yield the floor.
Jim?
I'll keep it real. I've never had fun a single time ever putting up a single Christmas tree in my life. But one neat thing that I came up with was maybe we can bring our own like trinket or something to hang on the tree, perhaps. But other than that, I think I'll sit out personally.
I volunteer to not do nothing.
That's just me.
All right, fair enough. Anyone else?
No,
Cole.
Yeah, I think the women would probably enjoy something like that. So I say let the ladies do it.
Mm-hmm. I agree as well. Also, a note on the cipher, rapping the songs from like day one, and I forget the other name of the album. That was pretty fun as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I got to get some new fresh bars out because honestly, listening to the bars in the cipher, I was like, okay, I feel like I really want to come out with something like real, like even more fire because people are thinking they have bars. So I need to like reestablish dominance. So I appreciate that reminder. Okay, so we'll put women down for decorating Christmas tree. And I'll let them figure out what is going to go on with that or if we need a budget for that. So we'll put them down for decorating Christmas tree. Got it. Awesome. Okay, cool. And feel free to speak up at any time. Oh yeah, also the music piece. So you guys may have noticed, like for the most part, we had Christmas music being played throughout. We tried to stick to the classics. Anyone have any thoughts, comments on that aspect of it?
yeah. With respect to the music, I would say I'm a very big fan of modern instrumentals of classics, and you can sprinkle them in and out. Something new, something old. It keeps it going. And actually, when you're making the playlist, the songs don't necessarily need to be more than a minute and a half, really. And you can kind of keep it changing. And also, one thing that I've done previously was I actually did if you have time, I did a video recording collage of all the songs. So it was 3 hours, and it was a music video on repeat. And it would sprinkle here and there. And sometimes I'd throw movies in the middle of it as well, from Home Alone or whatever. Some classics.
This man right here, had it going off. Anyone else? Okay, cool. We don't feel very strongly about music. Very good. I'll make some notes. Yeah, that's kind of how we had ours in terms of just a long playlist on YouTube. I like the aspect of the instrumentals as well. I think that'll be pretty smart. So we'll go ahead and probably just have one playlist everyone can drop into for the upcoming one. Okay, another piece is attire. And this is a big one because obviously on the first night we have our service staff was here. They were serving the hors d'oeuvres and entrees, and it's a little bit more upscale, the fancy decorations. Of course, people want to show up dripped out, especially the people who've been on the drip trip. You heard me, like they want to come and floss the suits, the customs. The next day for me, I already knew, number one, it's breakfast. You tend to think of breakfast. At least I think of brunch as more informal. And then secondly, I knew that we were going to be boxing. So I was pretty much already like, yo, bro, I'm ready to get it in. Some folks came, did their run in the morning, showered at my place, put on a whole proper outfit, and we're back in the drip. So we'll talk just on the guy side right now, from a first night, dinner night thing, and then the next day breakfast thing. What are your thoughts on attire?
I'd say generally how you had it set up was good, because the first day people were allowed to wear their drip and then just get back home. And then the next day was more of a chill, relaxed day as far as attire, because it wasn't chill with the workout, so to speak. So you have the floor.
Very good. Okay. Anyone else have comments on that?
I just want to emphasize what he was saying. I agree. I really think that the first day coming in dripped out, especially you haven't seen everybody in a while, I'm sure. So coming in with that sauce is important. But the second day, getting
I think his internet just dropped. Okay, go ahead. We can hear you now. So that was Saturday night, right?
right. So the first night is where you're dripped out, and then the second night is.
And then Sunday, we'll say athleisure.
I apologize about that. So first night dripped out, second night or morning, I guess that's definitely where you should be in the in athletic wear.
Was to schedule the workout as the last thing. So number one, once everyone's sweaty and all that good stuff, they can just pretty much just go to their hotel or go home or wherever their next destination is. If guys do morning runs, probably strategically, and I know guys will probably want to meet up to do it, but they probably should come to the day two already in fresh, clean athleisure. Would you guys all agree with that one? Okay. So we'll make a do not note for this one. So that's for Sunday morning. Who we have? Someone just.
And I'll just make a comment if you don't mind.
Please do.
I think some were concerned as far as the ordering, because you had brunch and I think you mentioned the workout would be after. But I think the spacing between the time of the brunch and then when we were going through our visions actually was a good amount of time to digest before we got into the sparring. So I felt pretty good actually after that.
Me too. Any other thoughts? Okay. Just making a note. Do not show up after your morning run to venue. Shower first. Big tree. We're doing trees again. Girls are decorating. This is the kind of day one attire that we're expecting to have. Let's see. The funny thing is, I already saw someone in the comment was like, you guys stop the no drinking policy. And this is one thing that I warn everyone of, which is the fact that people will constantly search for hypocrisy in the ways of leaders. They're waiting and craving, and these are low people. But to reiterate, as I've said from day one, and as I've practiced my entire life, we are completely and utterly against intoxicants of all forms, which is inclusive of alcohol, drugs, unnecessary pharmaceuticals, Midol and Tylenol for menstruation, cigarettes, hookah, excessive sugar, you name it. We are against it if it is unnatural and detrimental to you and your health. So no, that was not alcohol. Those were fine organic ciders. Some were cherry blush, apple cider, mixes of various things. That's all that was. Now those hit us crazy on budget because we ran through like 20 bottles of that. We had between 35 to 40 attendees and we ran through 20 bottles, which is kind of insane. So I think we'll need to track that a little better next time. But I think the toast was pretty well done and certainly photo worthy. But most importantly, it was neat that we structured it so all of our confirmed men were able to speak during the toast. So let's figure out how we can get that done. We want a set of social media accounts that are all Sasson Culture, capital SASN, then capital C, lowercase ULTURE, Sasson Culture, which basically will be all of the footage of what we're doing in our section so people can see how we live, how this actually manifests in day-to-day life. So we want to get that up. Someone will have to step up and get it done. And I'm looking forward to seeing that. Any other comments, questions? Fantastic. Let me acknowledge some of the folks who may have come in by Venmo or PayPal. I acknowledge Andre. He writes, getting my run in, 4 miles deep, 2 more to go, pieces. And shout out to Andre. It was our first time meeting him in person. And one of the things that's really cool is that we're business first. And it was great to see him. He brought his product. We were able to look at his product, give him good feedback. And that's a great time to use that form. It's a great time to actually network. And as I remind you guys, networking is about real friendships, and it's about people who actually want to help you and care about what you're doing. And he used that time well. I also acknowledge Reginald, comes in via Venmo. He writes, I really enjoyed when we rapped some of your songs. Also, I enjoyed when we read our goals on Sunday. Yeah. Those were 2 great experiences. One of them very old tradition, and one a very new tradition, and we'll be keeping both. Shout out to Dorian. He writes, that hat is too cold. Where did you get it? Shout out to Dorian. Shout out to all of my entrepreneurs. This fine hat, and you might not be able to tell, or actually you can because this camera is HD. This is velvet right here. You can go to mdblabel.com and grab this beauty. It might also be at thesasson.com if you click products, but this is a fine piece. Highly recommend it. And it looks brand new after all these years. This is a beauty. Definitely support Dorian. Good brother. Looking forward to seeing both of the gentlemen, both of the twins. Shout out to Andre. He comes back on Venmo. He writes, one of my favorite activities was goal setting. I realized I was not serious enough about my goals. I left Saints Weekend feeling inspired and ready to work. I needed a change of environment to push me to greater heights. It was a pleasure to be among great men. And that's a very consistent sentiment that we saw echoed from all of the guys who were there. So thank you for reiterating that piece and reminding people and letting them know what they get out of an experience like this. I acknowledge Josiah. He writes, peace of the saints. Great weekend. I look forward to this as an ongoing tradition, and the saints saying how they have accomplished the goals that they listed. That'll be a big piece, right? The follow-up on it. And one thing that I want you guys to know is, just like family, we were very honest with each other, and I really commend those people like Isaiah who have humility and honesty and true manliness, and that they can get feedback even if it's harshly or bluntly given, and say, yes, I'm going to take that and I'm going to grow. I'm going to reach for excellence. And that was one thing that happened a lot during Saints Weekend, is someone would share their goal, and somebody might say, hey, bruh, that's not enough. Like, you need to reach for more. I'm not impressed with it. I'm impressed with you and you can do it, but that goal is not, even if you achieve that, will your life be any better? And shout out to Jim, who's on the call right now. He was the first person to set that standard. So much respect. I acknowledge Caleb. He writes, tuition, glad Saints Weekend was a success. May I acknowledge Amir. He writes, peace of the Saints. It was an honor to meet you, Mr. Burton. Saints Weekend was amazing. Thank you for everything, Saint. To all the internet nerds out there, Marquette is the same person online as he is offline. He is an honorable man, a great leader, the velvet pimpin', and morally sound. Oh, and I almost forgot, he'll cave your face in, so don't play with him. Shout out to Joshua supporting the work via PayPal. Always good to hear from you, Saint. And Joshua, let me know how far you are from the A, man. We need to get a run in. And even if you're out of shape, it doesn't matter. I got a knee injury, so we're going to go slow. Holla at your boy. Shout out to Seven, writes, nobody doing it like the big homie, redefining global cultural standards. You ain't lying. Joshua comes right back. He writes, nah, bump that. I'm coming in freestyling. Nothing written. No fun without the challenge. Shout out to my boy Dan Lee. Shout out to the confirmed Saints. You dig? And one of the things that's so beautiful about getting together with the Sasson is that everyone is such good guys. It's never any bad blood, jealousy, none of that. Now we crack a lot of jokes. You heard me. We crack a lot of jokes. So it's just a pleasure to be around good guys that are like family, good earners, it's a beautiful vibe, man. I always have a great time. But yeah, I think we have to crown somebody. So I'm going to let you think about it. I'm going to let Dan Lee think about it. I'm going to let Ivan think about exactly how we want to go about it. I don't think we should necessarily turn it into a battle, but I think because I don't want to catch all those bodies. It wouldn't be right. But
I think specifically for this, you would want a chain. Like whoever's crowned, they own that chain.
Oh, they get a chain?
And if they lose the battle, then they gotta give up that chain. You know, and I think that's like the best way you could do it.
That would be crazy if we all put in on like an assassin piece, and then whoever wins gets the piece. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Then the bars become really hot. Yeah.
Oh man. What?
Yeah.
What? People are gonna be coming in with beat requests and the whole nine. People are having great connections and conversations. So I agree with you there. And also, I want you guys to remember the people who will invest in you. They'll collaborate with you. They'll introduce you to beautiful women, whether it's their sisters, their mothers, or whatever the case is, or their daughters. You know, so we do have saints that are old enough. Those are the men that know you, and you won't get to know someone over the internet or remotely. So that's a very good point you bring up. And I think that there's nothing wrong with giving that as a last option, but we really want to prioritize the in-person engagement.
Yeah. And also with remote calls, there's just this natural feeling of connecting with people you've already connected with. And it's a bit more difficult with newer people. So like Damien or Jim, I got to know them in person and hear their other conversations, be a part of it too, which definitely wouldn't have happened online. You know, it's just not something that generally happens. Yeah.
And shout out to Jim too. That brother is sharp. Jim is a smart guy.
Indeed.
Yeah, I like how he moves. May I acknowledge Dedrick writes, peace of saints. I'm glad it was a successful event. Can't wait for the drip trip next year, bruh. Me either. And here's the thing. I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I see how people are moving when they come to the in-person events. They always bring the swag that they got custom made on the drip trip. I see that. So now I already know that some people, they're addicted now. They got to go to the drip trip because they're going to want to come out with some new drip to all the events. And speaking of drip, shout out to Irvin again, because the suit game is crazy. Like, he had on my favorite suit. I love his suit that he has. He got a floral piece that's just crazy. So shout out to Irvin. Definitely looking forward to seeing all the saints at the drip trip. There may be a couple tickets remaining. You can get them at thesassin.com. That's THESASN.com. Click products. And it'll be a good time per usual. Custom suits, custom shirt, custom handmade shoes. And you didn't even know you could have shoes handmade, right? Now you know. Now you know. May I acknowledge Gwinsley writes, tuition. I just wanted to co-sign one of the super chats about feeling like family when getting together with saints. Shout out to all the saints I know by face. Jim, Kenton, Money, Mitch, Ramsey, and everyone else. Yeah, shout out to Gwinsley. It's a pleasure, absolutely. Dominic writes, happy holiday, saints, all the saints wherever you go in the world. Yes, indeed. And I always love when people travel and they're able to connect with folks in different sections. Now, I acknowledge Chris. He writes, the family really put something great together this weekend. Sassin or nothing. Peace of the saints. I hope you feel very proud of yourself for creating genuine environments that influence righteousness, ruthlessness, and remarkable individuals, big homie. Shout out and many blessings to you. And shout out to Chris. You know, one thing I like about Chris's section is, number one, is very close. And I also see him pushing his people. I spar with one of his young boys, and his young boy is nice. You know, me, when I'm sparring, I like to play head games. You dig? I want to condition you to expect the jab. You know, I might go downstairs 3 times just to go upstairs 1 time. I'm just hitting you with the left hand and to surprise you with the right. And I was trying to set him up for that. I'm hitting him with the left, moving around. I throw the right, and I thought I was going to take his head off his shoulders. And bro ducked it clean as hell. Shout out to the young boy, Jonathan. He's nice out there. And I just also want to make this prediction. He's going to make $100 million. The kid is sharp. The kid is very, very smart. I'm looking forward to him being the $100 million man. You dig? Anyway, shout out to Chris, executive over there, stepped up, is getting the job done beautifully. I also acknowledge Cameron. He writes, my apologies for showing up late to the event, Saint, but the event was a success. Just what I needed going into Hustlemania 13. Peace of the Saints. Shout out to Cam, man. It's beautiful to see these guys who are ambitious. He came right after graduating with an MBA, so may we all commend him for that phenomenal piece of education. And we'll see you at the top. Shout out to the ballers. Kyle writes, amazing weekend. Second weekend in December is better, and competition is king. Let's name a champ for the Cypher. Bruh, I agree. And tell Kevin I said, respect. I didn't know he had bars like that, bro. One cat spit you guys might remember Family Matters from back in the day with Steve Urkel. Bro spit a Family Matters bar. It was getting crazy in the Cypher. And I agree with you, Kyle. Somebody has to be named. Somebody got to be named. And we might as well and shout out to Chris in the SoCal section, because they made Assassin piece, a silver piece that's just gorgeous, beautifully detailed. We need to make a square piece with Assassin S on it, or a rectangle piece with Assassin S, and that's going to be the prize. We all going to have to put in on it. I'll put something on it, but I also plan on winning, so I don't mind putting a lot on it. You did. Anyways, carrying on. Shout out to the real ones. Appreciate you. Okay, so let's see. Here we go. More looks at it. Oh yeah, so and we need to make an ad out of this, because I think this looks just like super cold right here. This no alcohol hashtag Assassin culture, that looks beautiful. That needs to be an advert, man. And as I was saying, the hashtag Assassin culture, that needs to become a thing, to where you do something and then you turn to the camera, hashtag Assassin culture. Or I guess you probably don't need to say hashtag. You can just say Assassin culture and then put the hashtag. But that's going to spread our way, and eventually people will know what's up, and they'll know that there is a proper way, a civilized way to go about things.
You know, on that note too, Marquette, we might have to make a hashtag life with like 3 E's or 4 E's or something. just so we know.
Yeah. The real way, bruh.
Continue one more thing with that note. If you're in the DMV and you are a Saint, slide through the workout this Saturday. We're getting it in. You'll see firsthand Assassin culture. You dig?
There you go. DMV, that's Maryland, that's DC, that's Baltimore, that's Virginia, right?
Yeah, don't forget Virginia, play.
Yeah, all of that. If you're anywhere near that, you said this Saturday?
Yes, sir. December 28th. You feel me?
Saturday, December 28th, tap in with the people, man. And I want you guys all to stay sharp. Listen, I've been injured and I feel ashamed when the Saints come around. You dig that I can't get the run in. But I tell you what, I did open up a couple cans of whoop ass, though. You heard me? Like, I can't run, but I can stand on 2 feet. And I opened up a couple cans of whoop ass. So I'm going to have a couple more cans if you need it. You dig? So don't show up without being in the greatest of shape. I'm legitimately injured. But, you know, come on your P's and Q's. You really got to live this every day. It's not something to play with. Anyways, shout out to the toast. That was big fun, man. Like, I really enjoyed that. We're gonna play that for you guys.
Not one drop of alcohol in it. The glass is pure, just like all of you upstanding men, just like the women here. Gentlemen, I cannot tell you how excited I am to create a model that people will marvel at, people will follow the world over. This is something new for a new and evolving technology-enabled world. So it's truly a pleasure, and it's great to do this our way. Let us all bring these glasses in. Bring these glasses in. Peace of the Saints. Peace of the Saints. We recently hit 100K on the second channel, so we did it again.
Yeah, and then obviously we had the lecture, which kind of, I guess, is like an expected thing. And shout out to Zudort as well, because as you guys know, we hit 100K again. So we blessed him with the plaque that YouTube sends out. They only sent out one. And so that one went to Zudort. And so we appreciate his work, because that spreads the ism. That is what brings people into this thing of ours and grows our family. And that's absolutely what we want to do.
One thing I do want to bring up, just to have you keep it in mind. I remember one time you were speaking about doing like stand-up, basically. So we all get together and do a little comedy show. And I don't got bars. I can't lie to you. You feel me? But one thing I am is an actor, and I'm a comedian. You feel me? So I'm a little slacking recently, but I can get it. I can get the gears moving. I would work that.
Yo, that would be fascinating to do, like an open mic stand-up comedy joint. I already know Jabrizi gonna get in there and do something, whether it's like magic or stand-up. Shout out to Dylan in Texas. Dylan does stand-up. And I know we got to have a couple more folks. So yeah, that sounds like something we can host. That'll be fun.
There will be extra heckling.
Oh, what?
Just throwing that out there. Anyone who's thinking about that. Yeah, I'd say additionally, with all the things that we did, I felt like we were short on time. So
Yes. So would you say this would be something separate?
I definitely would. Me
Okay.
personally.
All right, cool. So that'll give us something else to do. That'll give us another reason to get guys together. So we can put together some kind of thing. We'll think about what it'll be, and that'll be a part of it. That sounds cool. Bro said, any saints in South Africa? Absolutely. It's a ton of saints in South Africa, but there's also, more importantly, the thickest women on earth in South Africa. Y'all be careful out there. Use protection. Boy, because it is dangerous. Anyone have any comments or questions as we wind down? Fantastic. Looks like we're caught up. And may I acknowledge Albatar, who just got Boss University. So shout out to those who invest in themselves. And that was the whole meaning of our Saints weekend, and the idea of removing the materialism and wasting money on trinkets is that your dollars need to do something for you. And the whole message of my lecture was to invest in yourself, invest in yourself, invest in the things that will stick with you a lifetime. You get the kind of knowledge you get in Boss University or the Master Communicator course, or from meeting someone at Saints Weekend that's in the industry you want to go into. You meet someone who's advanced in e-commerce, someone who's successful in real estate, has 10 plus properties in Florida. Those are the things that are going to last you a lifetime and grow your wealth. The trinkets are going to waste your wealth. So anytime you see a man doing something differently, trying to reroute, pivot, to find a new opportunity, commend them. You see someone invest to spend $1 to try to go in the right direction, commend them. And you should all be doing it yourselves, me included. I'm always trying to do new things. That's why you see me doing fencing, learning piano, learning to fly airplanes. It's keeping yourself sharp and ambitious. And you should be a Renaissance man, not to call yourself a Renaissance man, but because there are real benefits to having real skills and knowledge. Ladies and saints, it's been a pleasure to have all of you here fellowshipping. Until next time, peace of the saints.
Peace of the saints.
Peace of the saints.